Not all hospitals heal. Some are built to imprison, not just the body, but the soul. This is the story of Blackwood Asylum, a place where the patients never left even after death. In 1952, Blackwood Asylum was shut down after reports of unethical experiments. Patients spoke of doctors who didn't just treat madness, but fed it. When the authorities finally raided the place, they found the staff gone and the patients still in their rooms, whispering to the walls. Years later, urban explorers sneaked inside, drawn by the legends. Most left within minutes, swearing they heard footsteps following them. But one man, a paranormal investigator named Daniel Reeves, stayed overnight with a camera rolling. His audio recording captured something unnatural. At exactly 3:17 a.m., the temperature dropped. Then a voice, not from the recorder, but from the hallway, spoke his name. Not in a scream, but in a chorus of whispers, overlapping, as if dozens of voices had learned it just for him. The last thing the camera saw was Daniel backing into a patient's room, his breath ragged. Then, the door slammed shut on its own. The next morning, searchers found the camera still recording, but Daniel was gone. The only clue? A single word scratched into the wall: listen. To this day, visitors claim that if you stand quietly in Blackwood's halls, the whispers return. And sometimes, they say your name too.
In the summer of 1998, a garage sale in Redwood, Oregon, sold a box of old VHS tapes for $1. One of them had no label, just a single word written in black marker: watch. What happened next still haunts the town. The tape showed grainy home footage of a family, a mother, father, and 2 children, smiling at the camera. Normal. Until the 4-minute mark. The audio cuts out. The family stops moving. Then one by one, they turn their heads toward the viewer. Not a flinch. Not a blink. Just staring. The next shot was a basement. A figure in a white mask stood in the corner, motionless. The camera zoomed in, and the figure's head tilted. That's when the previous owner of the tape, a man named Greg, pressed stop. But the TV stayed on. And from his speakers, a whisper: you shouldn't have stopped it. Greg burned the tape. That night he woke up to his TV blaring static. On the screen, the masked figure now in his living room reaching out. Greg vanished the next day. Police found his VCR, with the tape inside. Still playing. 3 more people watched that tape. All gone within a week. The last victim left a note: it doesn't burn. It doesn't end. It waits. So, if you ever find an unmarked VHS tape, ask yourself, do you really want to press play?
On October 17, 1978, a small-town radio station played its final broadcast. The DJ never signed off. The listeners never changed the channel. Because by midnight, they couldn't. WJLX was known for its late-night jazz and local ghost stories. But that night, host Marty Crenshaw took a call that wasn't from a listener. The voice on the line whispered coordinates, latitude and longitude, before the line went dead. Marty laughed it off, until the station's equipment started reacting on its own. The broadcast kept cutting to white noise. Then, something spoke through it. Not in English. Not in any language. Just guttural, wet sounds, like a throat learning human speech. The studio lights flickered. The temperature dropped. And Marty, now panicking, realized the coordinates led to the station's own address. The last 30 seconds of the recording are the worst. You can hear Marty begging someone, or something, to stay back. Then, the microphone picks up breathing. Not his. Something closer. Something inhaling the static. The transmission cuts out at exactly 11:59 p.m. The next morning, the station was empty. No Marty. No staff. Just the radio, still on. Still tuned to WJLX. And if you listen to old recordings of that night, some claim that at the very end, right before silence, you can hear something whisper your name. They say mirrors are just glass and silver, but some reflections have memories. Some remember you. And if you look too long, they might change. In 2013, a university student named Leah bought an antique vanity mirror at a flea market. The seller warned her, "Don't play the reflection game." But Leah just laughed. That night, alone in her dorm, she sat before it and whispered the rules she found scratched on the back. 1. Light a candle. 2. Stare into your own eyes for 60 seconds. 3. Ask, who else is looking? Leah counted. At 58 seconds, her reflection blinked, without her. Then it smiled. Not a trick of the light. A real, slow smile, teeth too sharp. The reflection mouthed words Leah couldn't hear, until her bathroom faucet turned on by itself, water rushing over the words, "Let me out," written in steam on the mirror. Leah smashed the mirror. But the next morning, every shard was back in place. And her reflection? Gone. Just an empty room behind the glass, until something knocked from inside. 3 raps. Then her own voice, begging, "Why did you leave me here?" Leah disappeared a week later. Her roommate swears she still sees her, in windows, in puddles, in the corners of other mirrors, always mouthing the same phrase. And if you listen closely, you might hear your own voice echo it back. Rain has a way of making the world feel empty. Just you, the road, and the yellow line stretching into the dark. But sometimes, you're not as alone as you think. In October 2019, a rideshare driver named Mark picked up his last fare. The app showed a passenger named Elias waiting at the old cemetery gates. When Mark arrived, the man was already in the back seat, soaked from the rain, smelling like wet earth. "Just drive," Elias said. "I'll tell you when to stop." Mark tried small talk. No answer. The GPS glitched, rerouting them down back roads. Then Elias spoke, soft, like his voice didn't fit his throat right. "You ever hear about the accident on Route 9? Mark's blood went cold. 3 years prior, a hitchhiker named Elias Rains was killed there. Hit by a car that never stopped. The rearview mirror showed Elias smiling. Not a drop of rain on him now. "Almost there," he said. The car's interior lights flickered. When they steadied, the back seat was empty. Just a handprint on the window, facing inward. Mark crashed his car that night. Survived. But the cops found something strange, footprints leading away from the wreck, bare feet, trailing mud. And his dashcam? It recorded the whole ride. Even the part where something leaned over from the back seat and whispered, "Thanks for the lift." So next time you're driving alone at night, check the back seat. And if your GPS starts rerouting you somewhere strange, stop the car. Because not all passengers need a ride, some just want you to join them.